And that one today was for Eddie Howe. And I want to start off this video before we talk about Newcastle United, before we talk about Manchester United. We are going to start off by, of course, wishing Eddie Howe all the best in hospital. It's devastating to hear our manager, of course, over the last few days has been ill. But from what club reports have stated, he is conscious, he's speaking to his family, things are well in that respect. But of course, he's in hospital in the first place, it's quite concerning. But yeah, obviously, get well soon, Eddie. We love the football, we love Newcastle United, and we love, of course, Newcastle does well, but they are much bigger things in life than football, and this is what I think. So get well soon. Straight away, as for the game, as always, we go for the opposition team first. Manchester United, I mean, it was about what you expected from them today. We knew we were going to struggle. We knew, I mean, their entire season depends on the Europa League. If they win that, they're in the Champions League. So you would actually say it's not necessarily been a horrendous year for them. It still has. It's the worst ever league finish, and they continue to break records. That is the first time in Newcastle United's history, well, Premier League history, we've actually done the double over Manchester United. Sounds impressive, but it's just not because it's so bad this season. It is, however, a long overdue smashing. We haven't actually put 4 past Man United, I think, since would have been the 4-3 early 2000s. When Shiro is still playing, would have been the last time we actually put 4 past these. And we'll talk about Shiro because it took them 4 minutes today to chant about Alan Shearer, which is actually 2 minutes more than it took them last year. So 4 minutes is a new record in terms of how long it's took them to start that chant. But yeah, as always, it doesn't go too well for them. It's the 3rd year in a row that Manchester United has lost here at St James's Park. And I don't know what it is, right? I've walked away from this game today, and in a Manchester United sense, I've never been less arsed in my life to beat Manchester United. It's the first obvious point. It was an amazing performance from Newcastle, which hopefully the performance showed, but just in terms of beating an opposition team, it almost feels like we beat like Southampton, it feels like we beat Leicester. Like, it just doesn't feel like we beat Manchester United because it's just not the same club they were 15 years ago, and the fall off they've had over the past 15 years is just been astonishing because they're just nowhere near the team they once were under Alex Ferguson, and again they just continue to be so bad in the league. And we speak about bad, Tottenham are somehow worse than them this season. They might actually finish potentially 17th in the league table. Going into the game today though, we knew Manchester United were going to be focused on Thursday. We knew Manchester United weren't going to be amazing today. I thought in an attacking sense though, considering they played a 5-back, they weren't actually too bad going forward. Well, at least in the first half they weren't too bad. The likes of Zerki actually performing well for them. Garnacho was scored. I mean, what was a cheap goal in our point of view. We were winning 1-0, had crucial chances to go 2-0. Man U picked us off a real cheap goal, and that was the only frustrating part about the game today, that we went at half-time 1-1. On a different day, if Newcastle weren't hungry, if they weren't looking forward to the second half, they might have snatched a result, and they did a few years ago when Man U got like a 1-1 draw on what was a heavily dominant Newcastle display. Didn't happen today though. We went out second half, we went for second goal straight away Barnes, third goal Barnes was quality. In fact, I think all the goals there, with the exception of perhaps the 4th one, I think all 3 of the opening goals from Newcastle were all great. I mean, real top quality goals. Newcastle again looking great, and it's the start of a massive week for Newcastle. Now, it's actually, I promise you, I said this before the game, Crystal Palace is the game this week I'm actually worried about. Not Villa Park next week, not Manchester United today. Palace on that Wednesday night is actually the game out of the 3 I'm a bit concerned for. I know they got smashed at Man City yesterday, but they were 2-0 up against Man City. And speaking of those results, they've been in our favour. Chelsea couldn't even beat us, but at home. Obviously, Forest lost to Everton. That's a big loss for them. Again, they've got to make sure they can get the results on our end. But Newcastle, we need to focus about us. We need to focus on what we need to do. Palace on Wednesday, I'm telling you now, it's not going to be a comfortable game. We just need to get that result in. If we beat Palace before we even went to Villa Park next week, Newcastle's already got probably the necessary points to need this week. I felt like out of these 3 games, we need 6 points at least. But again, the fact that Villa is in amongst it, we also need to make sure we don't lose at Villa Park. But again, Palace, that is the game I'm a bit concerned for. So we need to make sure Wednesday against a team that's also going to play a bit similar today, where it's a low block. They're going to sit all the players behind the ball. They're going to be awkward. They're just going to be frustrating. We need to get that done against them. But we beat Palace on Wednesday. We're looking so well. Now, I'm glad a personal point of view we won today, because I know for a fact if Newcastle did not win today, Adam McCall over at the club would have been mouthing me off and he would have been piping up quite a lot. So zip it, you zip it. And then when Chelsea comes to St James's Park, again, similar situation. Let's make sure everyone else at the club will continue to pipe down, continue not to open their mouth. But of course, for Newcastle today, it was a very good performance all around. Again, we haven't got a manager. Jason Tindall's there in the dugout. Our coaching staff's there. Our players still got a job to do, and that was a this is for Eddie performance. I felt like it really was. It was a real top quality display from Newcastle, and it was a display where from minute 1 to 90 they were aggressive, were scoring offside, go inside 60 seconds, and you just knew from that point onwards Newcastle weren't going to let this game slip away. And Manchester United had a couple of decent chances in the game, but overall they were rubbish. They were bad. They've been just like they've been all season long. They haven't been good enough. Newcastle continue to exploit what is my lifetime, the worst possible Manchester United team. I mean, fair play to their fans that stuck around. About a third of them still stuck in there, kept chanting. It reminds me quite a lot of how Newcastle were when we were bad. We used to go all these away games back in 2015, 2016 before we got relegated. And I remember we used to just lose every game, so the fans almost just chanted every time. We lost 4-0, for example, we were bouncing up and down. It's kind of like how that Manchester United away end was today. Didn't care about the result, they were just having a good time and enjoying themselves. And again, imagine telling any Manchester United fan back in 2012 this is where he would be now. It's just mind-boggling. It really is mind-boggling to see the fall off of their football club. Now, with all due respect to them, long may that continue, because I've had some nightmare years under Sir Alex Ferguson when I was young. I used to honestly have nightmares about Manchester United, about Alex Ferguson. Every time he played, and I used to brick it all the time. It was such a scary team to play against back in 2010. So, a bit biased for me, but yeah, long may that continue. So a couple more things from the game today. We speak about Eddie Howe as a manager. We also speak about Kevin Keegan as well. I'm unaware if he was actually at the game today. I'm still not fully convinced he was there, but if he was, again, he had that massive display of form, and we'd love to see him back in Newcastle. We'd love to see him come back, but it's his choice. The obvious point there, we can't force the guy to come back to St James's Park. If he has his reasons for not coming back, or he decides that he doesn't want to be in that spotlight, then we've got to let the guy respect his wishes. That's what he wants, that's what he'll have. And again, it was a lovely display for Kevin Keegan, and of course Kevin Keegan and Manchester United, the two of them link so well together, so I felt like an appropriate fixture to bring it back. Of course, for Raw Flags, we're never ever going to be aware that Eddie Howe is in hospital, so in hindsight it would have been lovely for Eddie Howe to display it here, but again, that was completely out of their hands. We never would have predicted that to happen, so a bit of a shame with the Eddie Howe stuff. We really hope he's well, really hope he can get back as soon as possible. But I felt like today was also that example to prove to Eddie Howe that, listen, if you need to take a week off, you need to take a couple of weeks, make sure you're 100% before you come back to work. Take that time off, because you've got a real good coaching staff behind you, you've got an unbelievable team behind you, and you've got a football club that knows what they're doing behind you. Eddie Howe is instrumental, and he is massive for the success of Newcastle United. But if he needs a couple of weeks off to recover, if he needs a couple of weeks just to spend time with his family, just to make sure he's well before he comes back, we have a team here that can do the job for him. Do not rush him back. Let's make sure he's well, let's make sure he's happy, and let's make sure when he comes back he can fulfill his duties and work 100% as well as he possibly can do. So yeah, again, let's make sure we can look after him well. But as for that today, about as good as good I expect. Just wish it was a clean sheet. My only gripe, I guess, about the game, but even then, 4-1, really not going to complain. I just feel, I don't know what the word is for it, I don't feel much coming out from that, and that's just how bad Manchester United are. It just doesn't feel like we beat them. It just doesn't feel like we beat a massive team anymore. It just feels like we beat a bottom half club, which is what they are this season. It just, again, I just can't quite imagine how things have been so bad from over the last few years. You keep thinking when Manchester United have a bad season, you keep thinking, well, it's going to get worse than this, and then it does get worse. And for them, they've got a lot of problems they need to sort out behind the scenes. For us, we just need to do our job. Yes, results this weekend went our way, and we can look and be happy towards those results, but it's Newcastle's game. We have to get our points, we have to do it our way. Champions League football, you play like that, you will get it. Newcastle are once again getting towards Champions League football. Stay tuned, stay updated, and we will see you all in the next one.